He's back. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The return of the Podfather with my good friend, Jonny Tooma. I've been away for 2 weeks on various adventures, really 3 weeks from the podcast. So I appreciate the audience sticking with us. I was a little bit nervous. I haven't been nervous to start a show in a little while, but you take just a few weeks off, man, and you start to feel less like a podcaster and a little more little anxiety flowing through here. It's very strange. I hate it.
So good. So good to meet you in person at the Super Bowl, man, and see just how much of an enigma you are. And I got nerves, man. I'm on with the Podfather.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
What do you mean enigma? What do you mean?
You were just a funny guy. Like, when I'm controlling the aux cord and you're like, yeah, that'll work. And you're like, no, that won't work. Right. Like, you really are the CEO of the company. And I think that reflects in the aux cord as well.
We did better as a group when I would take a leadership role and then when I would let others dictate what happens, where we go, what we do. When you were left on your own, you ended up taking like the wrong turn to a convenience store, ended up taking you 45 minutes. You know, these are things I just wish that my leadership could always be available to everybody at all times, which it actually is with modern technology. Anyway, we have a huge show today. There's been so much to talk about. There's free agents pending, and there's trades being speculated on. There's a lot of quarterback talk. I want to talk about, there's a bunch of quarterbacks whose careers seem to be up in the air, and they could go either direction, right? So we have some quarterbacks at Crossroads. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some scenarios with free agent running backs, someone like a Kenneth Walker, what could happen in Seattle at the running back position. At wide receiver, you've got guys like Mike Evans, but then you've also got quality receivers like Jawan Jennings that are going to be free agents, and we can talk about what might happen there. And various other things that we have on the agenda. There's a lot. There's also rookies that are getting ready for the combine. You're about to go to the combine. You were with us at the Super Bowl. It was me, you, Anand, Billy, and our fearless producer, Nick Del Duca, at the Super Bowl. Talk to us about the Super Bowl experience.
Yeah, man. First off, you're a gracious host. I think the guests or the listeners need to know that. Podfather is a tidy roommate. He loaded up the dishwasher. He made sure that the house was ready to go when it was time to check out of the Airbnb. So no complaints shacking up with you guys, man. It was so much fun. The game itself, that Seattle defense is wild, right? And I think we learned that a game manager can win a Super Bowl. Like, Sam Darnold didn't have to go hero mode there. Drake May's got a lot of growing to do as well, but still an amazing player. But I think he just showed some of his immaturity, I guess we'll call it, right? Of just not being a seasoned NFL quarterback. But
second-year quarterback.
What a fun game. I don't know if we want to talk about me getting in there and actually being able to watch the game, but what a fun experience.
That's what we want to talk about, man. We'll get into the game. I sat behind Will Campbell's family. I have thoughts on Will Campbell. But before we get into that, just talk about your game experience, because you had a ticket for the press media room, which is like a media workroom off to the side of the stadium. And then on your lanyard, it said no stadium access. And yet, you were just coming in with Billy and I into the media entrance. And then the next thing I know, you're next to me. And the next thing I know, we're in like the luxury box concourse getting food. And there you are. And I'm like, well, we can see the game. I guess you're good.
I made it.
You made it. You and Nick both made it that way. And then I was paying attention to Anand on social media, and he made it somehow. So you just need to get there. Like, we didn't know what the access was going to be, but you and Nick said, I just want to go to the Super Bowl. I want to be part of the experience. I want to go to Radio Row. I want to interview players. I want to talk to some of my favorite broadcasters. And you got to do that. You got to do that all week. You had some great sound bites for our socials at Roto Underworld on Twitter. You manage that account. but we're also at Roto Underworld on Instagram, at Player Profiler on TikTok, at Roto Underworld on Facebook. Lots of great clips from Jonny Tooma. I was able to at least deliver some clips for social media while I was traveling. I ended up traveling from Santa Clara all the way down the California coast. The Pebble Beach Pro-Am was going on. I didn't even know that. I missed that by a day or two. I stayed in Carmel. I drove down the Pacific Coast Highway. It's reopened. It's incredibly treacherous. You need to focus. It's not like, oh, you can check out the scenery. Yeah, if you're a passenger, but not if you're a driver. You got to focus. But it was so much rains happened in California. It felt like Ireland. It was really weird. Cool elephant seals. But yeah, bucket list experience to drive down PCH all the way down. Ended up all the way down in San Diego with my Aunt Nora. Spent the weekend with her, and then at the FSGA conference had a really cool moment on stage, handing Scott Fish a big enlarged check for Fantasy Cares.
So
Care
awesome.
Fast Draft. Origins tournament's happening right now. Rabbit Draft happening right now. So now I'm back and I'm settled in and I've been digesting the news. I'm back in football mode. I'm back in podcaster mode. Podfather is fully engaged now, and a player I've talked about that I am buying. I'm hearing some things that are not good out of Minnesota. So my first thing is some quotes that I want to get into about J.J. McCarthy, because Vice President of Football Operations Rob Brzezinski said the team is casting a wide net in exploring quarterback options for 2026. That may or may not, probably will be good news for Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson's a buy, strong buy. I want Justin Jefferson so bad. Happy to take him. 1-2 turn in single quarterback. If he's there, I'll grab him. Superflex, you can get him as late as the end of the second round. So I love Justin Jefferson. He is an epic producer, historic producer in those first few years of his career. So one quarterback blip last year where you had a quarterback that was coming off a knee injury who was overwhelmed by the playbook. And now they're accusing McCarthy of not being able to pick up the offense, right? And they're talking about how, what we do need is just baseline level quarterback play. That's what he's saying we need, as in we didn't have that last year. And that's a pretty glaring indictment from anyone associated with the organization to say that about a quarterback, right? Typically in these interviews, it's just shield the player. Don't mention that he wasn't baseline competent. I mean, that's crazy. That's something that you would get from the radio host of the local radio show, not the vice president of football operations. So right there, for the first time, I'm just like dismissing this first year. I'm like, that's essentially a rookie year coming off a knee injury, super young quarterback, big arm talent. Just let it go. Just let that year happen and just keep buying. Now I'm like, what is this? Is it really that he's so dumb he can't pick up the offense? Is this the problem with J.J. McCarthy? That's never been an issue to my knowledge, that he was a dumb player at Michigan.
Yeah, it's so sad that that's what they're saying, that he didn't pick up the offense after a redshirt year, right? He sat on the sidelines with a clipboard in his hands the entire rookie season, and you would expect him to know that in offense inside and out. It's Kevin O'Connell, QB whisperer, who I think we all thought he was in the best position to succeed possible with a guy like him.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Isn't that funny? How, man, a player not delivering, right? A player missing his expectations can suddenly change the whole mythology around an offensive coordinator. I'm known as the quarterback whisperer because we happened to pick up Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold was underrated at the time. and undervalued by the league, and he played well with the best receiver in the league, or one of the best receivers in the league, in Justin Jefferson. And then he went on to somewhere else, and now I'm the quarterback whisperer. And then I try to do that with a quarterback with top 10 draft capital, and nothing, right? What happened to the whispering? What, Kevin, did you lose the whisper? Is that what happened? Did Kevin, right? He was great. He could, like that. He could do the ancient language, right? Like old Sumerian or whatever it is, right? That he could speak Babylonian, like languages that no one speaks anymore. And he could whisper that. And then suddenly that would unlock, oh, that's where I should be. Yes, that's how I should be playing the position at quarterback. Yes, thank you. Like, and apparently his whisperer was broken, or attributing performances to coaches as particularly like magentic figures as part of the organization. Hey, this offense is only working because of OCX, or Coach X is responsible for the turnaround of this offense. Or a bunch of players got together, they picked up the playbook, they decided to play better, or they made a bunch of improvements, most likely, to the actual personnel. Or could be, let's see, what did Sam Darnold enjoy so much in Seattle? Oh yeah, offensive line. Maybe offensive line helps a lot. So yeah, it's just it's never going to be mentioned. I want to just put this on record. No one is going to talk about how Kevin Stefanski lost his quarterback whisper. Like he lost it. He can't. Now every time he tries to go in a quarterback's ear, it's like, hey, this is what you need to do. Like, whoa, dude, whoa, what happened?
Not whispering.
What is that? Holy shit. That doesn't sound like a whisper. Right? So he lost the whisper. No one will talk about it. There will be how many articles written about Stefanski, the coach, and Stefanski is the reason, and Stefanski this, and Stefanski that. And then the year where he proves that it's actually all fake and just all narrative and is backed by nothing, then we're just moving on. Like, why would it's not going to be productive for anyone to go back and remember that we were fraudulent with our analysis of the Vikings. Oh, never mind. We're just going to go to the next one. We're just going to go to the next coach. Oh, where's Mike McDaniel? Where'd he go? Right? Or where did an assistant to Kyle Shanahan go? Right? Where did an assistant to Sean McVay go? Where did they go? Okay. So that's what. Let's focus. Okay. There's always somewhere. There's always 5 or 10 teams where you can plausibly make a case that, oh, the offensive coordinator or the head coach is making a real measurable impact and they have a particular set of skills these other coaches don't.
One thing I'll never move off of is the Carolina Panthers having Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold in their room and letting both those guys walk away because they thought they weren't the answer, right? So it's just pretty interesting.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And they weren't like two ships passing in the night. They were in the quarterback room at the same time. They were doing drills. They were taking snaps, and they were throwing the football around the yard down there in Carolina. And the coaches looked around and said, "We need a smaller quarterback, even smaller than Baker Mayfield. We need a quarterback with a weaker arm." That's right. Yeah, we know this is what we need. Here's what we need. And you know what we do? Let's trade a whole bunch of picks and DJ Moore to get there. This is what we need. I mean, there's that plus then the trade that manifests, then the pick of Bryce Young. It's just those two guys in the room together, then the catastrophic trade, the massive overpay for the 101, and then it's who they actually picked at the 101 with just cascading layers of mistakes, which all resulted in, I don't know, a playoff run.
An 8-9 playoff run, right? Yeah. And I think Dave Tepper, their GM, at one point said, like, oh, we want a quarterback like Bryce because we won't need weapons. He's a point guard. He'll distribute it to everybody. What do the next year? They go out and
What?
get Teteroa McMillan, right? Because they're like, oh, forget what he said.
Wait. We don't need weapons because we have a point guard?
Yeah, he's a distributor. He's more of a distributor than Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. So we don't need to invest as much into the weapons. And then
Wait, did you really say that? Because that
yeah.
makes no sense. If you're a distributor, then you're relying on the weapons to do the work.
Yeah, I think they walked that one back after his rookie year. We're like, you know what? Maybe we should get this guy some legitimate help.
But it just goes to show, when these guys talk, these coaches, they don't know anything. And it's just, if you actually analyze what they're saying, like, oh, they're just trying to get through the conversation. They don't even know what they're saying. It's just platitudes, cliches, and just safe speak to just get through it. And then you look back and you read it and you're like, wait a second, what he said is completely nonsense. Oh, this is a total juxtaposition. These are in conflict with one another. What are we doing? If this is true, that he's being a hypocrite. Well, yeah, duh. He's not even thinking about what he's saying. He's just trying to get to the end of it. And he's just trying to remember what other people have said. Then he smashes it all together, and then sometimes you smash the wrong comment on top of another comment, and we're like, wait, does that make sense? Well, whatever. No one's going to... It's not like anyone in the sports media is going to stop them and be like, actually, sir, could you restate that? Because that what you just said is counterintuitive. How so? Oh, well, no, that never happens. Wait, do you see these follow-up questions? You go to these media scrums.
You know me, man. I'm going to press these guys at the Combine, at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I hit them with the follow-up questions. I get the answers out of them that sometimes they're reluctant to give. So I agree with you. You have to do that second and third level questioning, or else you're just getting the surface level BS.
Are you going to the Combine?
Yeah, man. I'll be there tomorrow.
Dude.
Went last year. It was a dream come true. I'll never forget seeing Omarion Hampton in person last year. Like, that guy was just built differently than every other running back at that event, and you could just see it. So I look forward to seeing what they look like in person. I look forward to bringing some hard-hitting questions. We've got some guys with some off-the-field issues, some rookies, and they are not safe from your boy. I'm going to bring up some arrests, some character concerns, and I'm hoping I make it in and out of the Combine safely. My wife was like, hey, you should be careful what you ask that guy. I'm like, he's an NFL player. He's got his life on he's got his whole career in front of him. You better not.
You're gonna be? Are you coming with one of these things? Are you gonna go to the press conference with one of these? And then just see if any of the players start running.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, nice moves. I didn't think we were going to see that until you got out there. But apparently, right? Because, sometimes they get arrested. The players,
I got it. Matt.
The siren sound, You're going to be fantastic at the Combine. I'm excited for it. You're going to be there. Matty Kiwoom's going to be there. A fella named Anand Nanduri's going to be there. God, we're just descending on the NFL scouting combine. You're going to see Cody.
Yes.
You're going to see Alex. Oh, Alex and I owe the audience a Content Kings. Alex knows that. We will be having a Content Kings. I can promise you that. And we've also added the rookie class, the 2026 rookie class, the Dynasty Dominator app. Here's a little bit more about the Dynasty Dominator app. Hey, what if I told you there was a Dynasty app where you could get player lifetime values, evaluate trades, including draft picks out to 2028, compare the advanced metrics of two players, look up the sentiment, buy, sell, hold on players? Well, there is a mobile app that has all of that and more called the Dynasty Dominator, and it's $5 in the App Store on Google Play. This is my gift to you, the most affordable Dynasty League domination app available today. And if you already have it, I stopped it too early. Damn it. God damn it. I stopped the ad too early. What an idiot. All right. I'm rusty. I think it was going to say, if you have it, you could just add the 2026 class now. Go ahead and do that. It's right there in the App Store. Dynasty Dominator. people rave about the trade analyzer and the Dynasty Dominator. So, and I want to add some more features this year. We're going to be doing it's a great app. It's very popular, and we're very blessed. So we've only talked about one player, really, JJ McCarthy, and I will say that I am now more concerned, and he's not on my buy list. I created a buy list for Patreon, patreon.com/podfather. I created a top 10 Dynasty buys. Marion Hampton deserves to be on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You would put Marion Hampton is coming off of essentially a lost season.
Yeah.
And then the presence of Kamani Vidal, he emerges. Now there's a little bit of uncertainty, but you look at like Kamani Vidal's keep trade cut ranking, and he's way down there, right? Way down there. So it's like, okay, no one really likes Kamani Vidal. So if you don't like, if you're admitting that Kamani Vidal is probably not going to be a thing, at least not while he is a Charger, then why wouldn't you be more in on Mr. Amarian Hampton? Because he is built different, and he is one of the rare all-purpose studs on a team that's going to have an improved offensive line and is a real Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, healthy offensive line, right? Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt both dealt with injuries last year, and that offense fell apart. And then you've got Mike McDaniel coming in, right? I think that's such a huge shift from Greg Roman, who had historically always leveraged multiple backs and really rode, multiple backs as just part of his offensive identity. We saw that Mike McDaniel's excited to get Devon Achane in a feature role, even though he's tremendously undersized from traditional, coaches' ideologies. So I can only imagine he's salivating at the mouth. He knows that Amarian Hampton can be a 3-down back who's going to, handle the between the tackles work and also be a passing weapon. So, Amarian Hampton, I think, is in a really good spot to have a great bounce back season and really be what you expected when you drafted him, in the top 3 picks of single QB leagues last year.
So this is one of my favorite exercises. Is you go to Player Profiler's Dynasty Rankings. So playerprofiler.com Dynasty Rankings. We have Hampton at 4, RB4. Keep Trade Cut has him at RB6. And he has dropped 2 spots on Keep Trade Cut. And it's like, well, why did he drop? He's going into his second year. He's going to be much better. He's going to have a healthier offensive line. Everything is teed up there. His backup did just enough so they don't feel compelled to add depth.
Yeah.
So actually, Kamani Vidal did his job perfectly for Amarian Hampton to make sure Amarian Hampton maximizes his value this year. And now on Keep Trade Cut, his total value is like 6,606. That is only 600 points on Keep Trade Cut ahead of Trevion Henderson. Oof. And to me, Trevion Henderson is much more speculative.
Yeah, risky.
Yeah, wait,
overpriced. Yes.
What would you rather have, 2 Hendersons or 1 Hampton?
I don't know if I get the question.
Okay, let's say you could have 2 Trevion Hendersons or 1 Amarian Hampton in Dynasty.
Like as a Dynasty owner?
Yeah, this is a Dynasty hypothetical.
I want 1 bell cow. Yeah, I'll take my 1 Amarian Hampton and then go fix my flex somewhere else, right?
Yeah, the difference in our lifetime values, the ratio, is actually similar. But in Trevion's case, he has lost more value than even Hampton. Because it's not about how many games you missed or what your raw fantasy point scoring was. It's like, did you separate yourself? And Henderson really didn't separate himself from Stevenson at any point. He had some big runs, but at no point was anyone thinking, oh, when healthy, this is the Henderson show. Did that ever happen? No. I feel like we were on the cusp a couple times and it never materialized.
Yeah, he had some really solid games when Ramondre missed time, but the challenge was just down the stretch that Ramondre earned his role back, right? And another issue is he's clearly a better between the tackles runner, Ramondre Stevenson, than Trevion Henderson. but it's not like he's got a glaring weakness in his game where he can't catch passes. He was extremely effective as a receiver out of the backfield. He can really do it all. He's just got more size than Henderson. And, he hung on to the ball down the stretch too, which was incredibly interesting. Like, he had 3 fumbles in the first couple of games of the season, then didn't fumble again the rest of the year. So clearly put an emphasis on ball security. And that's why I'm so low on Henderson, is when you start thinking about, to your point, lateral moves. Okay, at 6,000, he's basically worth the 101 on keep, trade, cut. And it's like, would you rather have Jeremiah Love or Travion Henderson? Like, for me, it's a no-brainer, right? Because we know going into his second season, Travion Henderson's, that not a lot has changed, and that Ramondre Stevenson will be in that backfield. He's got a handsome contract, and they're going to lean on him. Best case, it's a 50-50 split.
So we also learned that Drew Allar, who is recovering from season-ending ankle surgery, suffered against the Northwestern Wildcats. One of the great upsets.
Wildcats.
That's right. One of the great upsets of the college football season. He is going to throw at the NFL Combine. Are you going to be there to see it? You going to report back?
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, this guy's got the physical traits, right, Drew Allar, but the ball placement is a huge issue. And normally, you say, oh, this is just throwing the ball around. Like, I really think with a strong performance at the Combine, it could certainly help his draft stock. He's a guy who I think could sneakily be in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, that everybody's like, ew, gross, Drew Allar. Like, I bring him up and it's like I'm bringing up a curse word or something. But every year, teams fall in love with guys who have this type of size, this type of arm strength, this type of natural ability. I'm still really, really concerned about the ball placement, but if he can put some of those concerns to rest at the Combine, I think you could see him go and be a day 2 pick.
The 49ers are not interested in letting Mac Jones go. And then now there's speculation that some team is going to just want to overpay for Mac Jones. How did we get in a world where now we're overpaying for Mac Jones?
Well, I think, to your point, like, you brought up Sam Darnold and the Vikings fixing him. Maybe the Vikings didn't fix him. He was adamant during Super Bowl week that he really learned a lot playing in that 49ers system, right? And Mac Jones has shared the same thing. So they developed. And
excuse me. Yeah, all roads always lead back to Shanahan.
Yeah.
They really do. Just when you try, it really is. He really is a problem for me, right? He is very much a pebble in my shoe.
What do you mean?
In that I'm one of my hobby horse topics is this overemphasis on the coach, especially with fantasy analysis, right? And I'm always looking for the debunking opportunities, like the Stefanski nonsense. But then you can always trace it back to, well, actually, it wasn't Stefanski who was doing the whispering. It really was. It was actually Shanahan. And it's all from Shanahan. There was a coach that was a Shanahan, or there was a coach that actually taught a Shanahan who taught him. You can always just circle everything back to Shanahan and keep the coach narrative alive. And this is what you're doing. You're saying, well, actually, no, Sam Darnold was fixed. The Jets broke him. Carolina did nothing to help him. And then it was really the 49ers who fixed him. I'm assuming Baker Mayfield went to the 49ers too. Did he?
No, that's where we start pulling in the Dave Canales coach.
What about no, actually. There's another coach that has a pretty sterling
Sean McVay.
record.
He went to the Rams first,
yes.
and Sean McVay fixed him in a week. Yes.
Right. So it's either McVay or Shanahan. Everyone else doesn't count. Everyone else is fake. Stefanski fake genius.
Canales is fake too. To your point.
Oh, they're all fake. They're all about to be exposed. McVay though. Now again, he couldn't unlock Jared Goff. He had to let Jared Goff go to the Lions and get an upgraded offensive line before he could be a productive NFL quarterback. Other than the Jared Goff example, pretty sterling track record from McVay. And so, yeah, that's always you can always say, well, they went out west, right? They went out west to get guru'd, and then they were able to come back to the league just fine. And so now that's where Mac Jones is, and now there's heavy demand for Mac Jones, especially in the wake of a Sam Darnold Super Bowl, where he played the role of Trent Dilfer. You said, "Oh, it's proof that a game manager can win the Super Bowl." Yeah, we've seen Jeff Hostetler win a Super Bowl. We've seen Frank Reich win a Super Bowl. These are backup quarterbacks. We've now seen Sam Darnold, who is not impressive, and he was awful in that game. There's one thing to take away from that game is Sam Darnold was truly awful. He had to do nothing. He was asked for nothing, and he delivered nothing. He was just a nothing. It was Kenneth Walker and the defense, and that's all it was. And he even admitted it. That was one of my highlights going to the press conference, and he's like, "I wasn't very good today." He was like, "You're damn right you weren't, but that's not going to be the narrative. You guys won. It doesn't matter. You're game manager champion. That's what you are. You're not guy that imploded in the biggest circumstance and put it on the defense to win the game and then they delivered. No, that's not what happened. No. You're just leader of men, great champion guy, and example for other teams to follow, so they need to just mortgage everything to get Mac Jones."
He's a starter. He's a starter in this league. I think he's a starter over guys like J.J. McCarthy, Justin Fields, obviously, even Ty Simpson, who's pretty much solidified himself as a QB2 in this pre-draft process. I think Matt could come in day one and be an upgrade over those guys, just because of, to your point, he put some really good tape on film in 2025, and it's gross to say, but when they get this draft capital in that first round and they hang around the NFL for 4 or 5 years, I think that's the big wake-up call, is these guys like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Mac Jones. They were such high picks because there was some potential there. Maybe it didn't get realized right away, but it's worth, trying to reinvest in them and trying to get something out of them.
Player 151 in Superflex on Keep Trade Cut. He is player 151. Now the big question is, where do we have him at Player Profiler? All players, Superflex, 151. Ooh, where will we have Mac Jones? 190.
Ooh.
Yep, 190. I think he could come up. I think he deserves to come up a little bit, but there's just not a lot there. There's not a lot to like, and there's a lot of guys ahead of him that I prefer. But in Superflex, he's very much worth a pick.
Yeah, and I mean, if that landing
he's very much worth a pick. At that point, there's real upside there. What upside are you getting from, there is upside. I mean, Trey Benson, there's upside there for sure. Chimere Dike, there's upside there for sure. These are some of the guys. Trey Harris, Adonai Mitchell. There's upside.
Yeah.
Right, there's upside in that zone, but there's also guys like A.J. Barner, Terrence Ferguson. Give me Mac Jones and Superflex.
I love me some AJ Barner, man. I spent so much time with that guy at the Super Bowl just because I'm a big fan. Really nice guy too.
You're a big fan, but one of my buys at tight end might be, depending on what we talk about here, is Elijah Arroyo. I feel like this is a great team. If you want to have a team where you have the tight end, they're going to have a tight end featured in that offense. And if you're younger and you're if developing, then wouldn't this be the perfect place to develop behind AJ Barner? Is AJ Barner someone who anyone is like in a hurry to get?
Dude, I'm so out on Elijah Arroyo.
Why?
Just the medical history, man. He had like a torn up knee in college, came back, had some issues with it again, missed the Senior Bowl, didn't participate in the combine, had issues with the same knee in his rookie season that missed time. At a certain point, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, I'm taking AJ Barner because he's out there and they're using him. And I mean, this guy caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He had one of the better games across all the players on offense in that game. I think when I looked at that game, it was Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp when JSN went out, and AJ Barner as like a featured role in that offense. And I think he doesn't get enough credit for being an actual pass catching like weapon. He's big, he's not fast, but he's effective, especially in the red zone. I love the tush push upside too. This guy is dying to get in there and do those 1 yard quarterback sneaks in place of Sam Darnold. I just never understand how the Eagles somehow fall into those situations like 4 times a game where they're at the 1 and they need a sneak. If that ever happens for the Seahawks, we could see like 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns for AJ Barner. I mean it.
I just want to tell you, great microphone. Love that we have the dueling giant microphones. Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks are interesting in that their mentality is very much like workmanlike. They're like the new Steelers with how they want to set up their franchise, the attitude, the culture. And while the offense that they run does feature the tight end, as we saw in the Super Bowl, you also have to fit that culture. And it seems like Barner is a better fit for that culture. So it's like, hey, you got a hard-nosed team that features the tight end. Good. Yeah, let's buy Arroyo. Well, they have a guy already who's young still, 24 years old. Right? So Barner's not old. If Barner had been kicked around the league a little bit and just had a season, how many yards did he have? AJ Barner. 500 yards? 500-yard season out of nowhere? Okay, that's fine. But if you're going to have 500 yards out of nowhere in your second year in the league, he has great agility and explosiveness. Just the 40 time he failed, I'm not sure exactly why his 40 time was so slow. We rarely see guys with a 17th percentile 40 time and a 28th percentile college dominator. But AJ Barner was also parked behind a top 10 pick at Michigan. And so the production is not something that you can really hold against him. And if for whatever reason he just had a bad 40 and he's actually faster than he tested, then he becomes like a Zach Ertz profile.
Yeah, or even Jake Ferguson in the grossest scenario. Jake Ferguson doesn't have great athleticism, but knows how to play in the offense. And I think he's a better inline tight end, no questions asked, than Arroyo. Arroyo has more receiving upside, but like they're going to deploy Cup and JSN in the slot. They're going to use 2 tight ends a lot, but they're going to line them up in line. And I just think that AJ Barner is a little more aggressive, nasty in the run game. And that puts you on the field, And so I just don't see, again, I just don't necessarily see the path there with Arroyo, especially if the knee continues to be an issue. I know some people just blow off injuries and say, oh, I don't factor those into my analysis at all. When it's a recurring issue for 4 or 5 years now, ever since his sophomore year of college, it's the same knee that keeps popping up on the injury report. It definitely makes me cautious.
That's great info. You should think about doing news.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know. So with Kenneth Walker, they have a lot of defensive players to sign. Boye Mafe, Josh Joby, Woolen, Bryant, their whole back end of their secondary. Right? Kobe Bryant was good. I mean, there's just a lot of good players that were responsible for that Super Bowl that are now free agents. And then they have to hold money back for the quarterback position at some point, got to figure out what they're going to do there. Is it possible that they say, hey, our philosophy is that we don't pay up for running back? There are some teams that we're not going to pay for running back, period. We're going to let you go. Giants did that with Barkley. Right.
And then they signed Darius Slayton for the same amount of money. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually one of the few situations that I disagreed with, where I'm like, your owner is telling you that he
Don't let this guy walk.
would lose sleep without Barkley. And it'd be one thing if there was an overpay, but no, it was actually an underpay. You at least need to come back over the top of that. You need to position yourself to be able to come back over the top if someone lowballs him. And he didn't do that, and that was a fail by Joel Schoen. What happens with Kenneth Walker?
I think they get it done, man. I think he stays. They like him. That was the constant sentiment at the Super Bowl throughout the interviews, was this is the guy we want to keep in the building. I don't know if you saw the parade after, but the GM, John Schneider, was like saying that Kenneth Walker and him are talking contract details. So he's in that direct contact with the GM, and they really are kind of in a rock and a hard place here. Like, you're going to be missing Zach Charbonnet. You let Kenneth Walker walk, then you have to either replace him through free agency or the draft, and you just have a lot of uncertainty there. From my experience, and again, I got my Super Bowl jersey because this team, I think, is a really good example. Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos was off the coattails of a really strong defense, Peyton Manning on his way out. And what ended up happening was like Danny Trevathan, Malik Jackson, all these solid defensive players, they were all up for free agency and they all walked, right? And it was because they took that top dollar. And what ended up happening was they didn't justify that investment on the new team. I think that's just a really crappy part of this business is like those guys could have stuck around in Denver, hopefully continued to create a legacy and been in the spot that allowed them to be the best players they can be. I think all those players that we just mentioned on the Seahawks defense, they look as good as they can possibly be as part of a really good unit. And they're going to go probably take top dollar somewhere else, not look quite as good. You see it happen time and time again. It's like a curse of winning the Super Bowl. You have to go and pay these guys. And every other team in the NFL is saying, oh, well, that guy was part of the reason they won, so he's worth paying a premium. It sucks, but it means that's what John Schneider's been really good at is bringing in Nicky Manowari and guys like that through the draft to supplement that talent, right? So I expect a good amount of those guys to walk. I think one of the more critical pieces for them to hang on to is Kenneth Walker.
And he's put them in an impossible position by being
Winning
the featured
MVP.
guy at the Super Bowl, right? Where like we couldn't interview him because there was a separate interview for the coach and Kenneth Walker, right? So it was like we couldn't even interview that guy because he was so featured, and he's featured in the parade. He's featured everywhere, and it's like, listen, no matter what you want to do, now you can't. No matter what your philosophy about position scarcity is, it doesn't matter. This guy was the star of the Super Bowl. Period. End of story. That's it. Like, it's over. Right? He was the MVP. So you're not going to get off paying him. You're going to have to pay him. We could talk about theories where, oh, yeah, in the most rational world, they let him go and they sign Rico Dowdle. Yeah, I would do that if I were a GM, but this is real life. And I would actually love to know what I would do if I were in that situation and all these forces were yelling at me to sign Kenneth Walker. And how could you? And how could you? And how could you? You can't betray the fans. You can't betray, the hero of the Super Bowl and all these things. Like, he deserves it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, yes, I know. But listen, but position scarcity, but listen to me. So here's the thing with position. We can get Rico Dowdle. We could save money. We could make sure we sign Woolen. No, I don't know. I know that whoever is the actual general manager of the Seahawks is not going to be able to say no to that pressure. Would I be able to if I were in that chair? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you for sure I'd be able to say no, and I'm going Rico. I can't say.
I will just say there's that Seahawks team, a lot of really nice gentlemen, referring to me as sir and stuff like that. Kenneth Walker is an absolute menace. Like, trying to ask him a question, his body turned away from you, kind of give you the side eye once or twice, and then acknowledge that you're right in front of his face. Woo!
Really?
Woo!
What did you ask him? Remind us what you asked him.
I asked him, why are you being more productive as a receiver this year? Right. And he's like, well, I should remind you, I played receiver in high school. And I guess Kubiak just wants to get me involved and knows what he's got. But I asked him one other question that I recorded, and I was like, this is such a dog shit answer. I'm like deleting the video. Like, he was cold. He was very cold compared to all the other players that I was speaking with. Which,
ice cold.
His dad is like an agoraphobia, has agoraphobia, right? Big fear of crowds. That was the first game his dad had ever went to, was the Super Bowl. First time watching his son play because he's so scared of crowds. And you can kind of see how that kind of rubbed off on Kenneth Walker a little bit. He's not the friendliest guy in social settings.
So there's still more quarterbacks I want to talk about. That one guy I know is on my list of, top Dynasty ads right now based on, where we have them versus keep, trade, cut. Malik Willis.
Yes.
I mean, let's go with Malik Willis, right?
Let's fucking go, dude. I love what you said on the show sheet. By the way, guys, getting access to Podfather's show sheet before the call was like a kid in a candy store for me. I always watch these shows and I'm like, how does this guy do this? What do these things look like? Because I make my own shows. So a lot of gold digging through how you put together your show sheet. But you said Malik Willis to the Browns, and I freaking love that, man. Todd Monken there, Lamar's old OC. He's going to get paid, right? 25 to 30 million is what the insiders are saying. And this is the thing. I really like him in fantasy football. I don't even care if he's actually a good quarterback, right? If he gets a starting money and is going to be a starter, he's got those legs. They could go and win 5 games and he could still be, a fringe QB1 in fantasy football.
The speculation is either Dolphins or Browns. But I think the Browns are very much in play for this. Either way, he's going to be a starter next year, and he has a big arm, and he's super mobile. Why not? Like, what is the problem? Why are we waiting? Like, let's vault this guy. Where does he belong?
Well, I'll tell you where I'm at. Is I'm in a weird dynasty league where I won, so I have the 112, and we can draft from the player pool of existing non-rookies in the draft. He is actually a free agent in that league somehow. I think somebody dropped him at the end of the year, something crazy. It's a super flex league. I'm strongly considering taking him at the 112 if he's there. I think he is basically a first round equivalent in terms of if he gets starter money. I think somebody will probably pick him before me is what I think will happen.
Yeah, we're gonna have him around QB 20 on our rankings when this is all said and done. But even buying the uncertainty, I think because there's an uncertainty quotient with our rankings, which is why he's not higher right now. But that's something where we can override it and just say, hey, we know this is gonna. It's become clear that he's going to be a starter somewhere very soon, and let's just get out ahead of it. And let's post him up to QB 20, I think, is where he belongs.
And again,
I want him. I'm trying to get into dynasty startups right now because I want Malik Willis. If you are in a dynasty startup and you want me to join it, podfather@rotounderworld.com. Go ahead. I might join. Put it out there. I'm down. Especially if it's superflex. Most people are trying to get out of leagues. I'm trying to get into leagues. Because I want to. There's just so much value out there right now. I'm sick of letting it go by. I'm no. This is no. No. Okay, no. All right, I say no. Right? Here's another one. I don't normally like to talk quarterback, but look at all this value. Daniel Jones. Right? Daniel Jones, multi-year deal coming for Daniel Jones. Why isn't there more buzz about Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones wasn't horrible in New York, had some years where he was fantasy relevant, but they gave him the worst possible offensive line and weapons. And then when they finally drafted Neighbors, they said goodbye. It's that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah, cool. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. If you're Daniel Jones. And he's there's a lot of quarterbacks. We talked about Jared Goff, talked about Baker Mayfield that blossom in their second or third location. He has incredible physical traits. No one was more betrayed by their original team than him. And now the Colts are this is the best we're going to get for years. We better get this guy signed. And this isn't a Jimmy Garoppolo thing. This guy's for real. This guy was a top 10 pick.
Yep. 6 overall. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of meh on him just because of the Achilles injury. I think you can't write in stone that he's going to return as a QB 1 or 2 in fantasy next year. I just maybe a little bit of bias coming in. I'm a little meh on him overall.
I am buying Achilles injuries. George Kittle, right?
That
George
hurts.
Kittle. Think about where George Kittle's going in best ball right now. Way too late. So I'm buying the Achilles injuries and the medical evolution that we've seen, especially around Achilles, where there's a lot more injection possibilities, and there's just a better understanding of how to manage an Achilles rupture, repair it, and then recover from it. It's not what it used to be, especially for a quarterback. Now, the problem with Daniel Jones is some of his value was attributed to his running ability. So that's where certainly you're not going to overpay for Daniel Jones. No one would ever overpay for Daniel Jones. But in Superflex, I am shopping in the discount bin. I want the dented cans. I want a bench with Mac Jones and Daniel Jones and not Matt Jones. Remember Matt Jones?
Is that a running back?
He was a quarterback.
Oh, the Jags pick, right?
Yeah, he was a quarterback at Arkansas, and then the Jaguars drafted him early to be a wide receiver, and it didn't work out, shockingly. The Jags have a funny way of drafting utility players that have lots of skills and trying to make them into wide receivers and failing.
Dude, I'm not going to deal with the Travis Hunter slander. I'm not.
Jags are known for that. Jags are known for that. They're known for that. Okay, now where I'm not going to be, tagging a player as a value is Kyler Murray. Like there's whispers of him going to the Jets and the Dolphins. What do you think is going to happen?
So my ask is that he goes to the Steelers strictly because it will have the least residual impact on high-end fantasy assets. Okay, put DK Metcalf in wide receiver 2 purgatory. That's fine. Arthur Smith is still going to run his offense. And, but if he goes to the Jets, you're tanking Garrett Wilson. He goes to the Dolphins, you're tanking, I think they'll probably add a receiver with Waddle if they don't get rid of Waddle. But my point being, just the Steelers, they have that. Any team that has Arthur Smith, I'm just to hell with you. You can have the grossest quarterback too, and you guys can figure it out. So that's my wish list.
Let's talk about DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf runs a 4.33, incredibly explosive, 100th percentile speed score. The guy was a monster, right?
Yeah.
Absolute monster. And then you look at his air yards. Okay? Second year, he's a full-time player, puts up 1,783 air yards. Then it's 1,600 and 1,650. Then it's 1,520. Then it's 1,475. Last year, can you guess what it was?
It's right in front of me, 1,044.
Thank you. Okay. People on the podcast, maybe that would have been a little bit of a, little, you could have had a little flourish there, right? But you decided not to. It's fine. It's fine. No suspense. It's fine. And then explosive plays. Yeah, you ranked 15th in explosive plays. Typically is higher than that. Not great. So the air yards are incredibly concerning. This is a player we have identified as overrated for years. One of the reasons is the narrative around his diet. But it is also just a window into how much does this player commit to football.
Yes.
And DK Metcalf is now 28 years old. And he's going to be 29 at some point next season. And players like DK Metcalf, tale as old as time, the fruit just goes bad, right? It ripens early, and then it goes bad, and then it becomes rotten. You start to see it going bad, it starts to soften up, and then by age 29, age 30, it's I can't even be in the same room as this is gross. What are those fruit flies buzzing all around? He's way past the date, right? The fresh date on DK Metcalf. And the fact that the Steelers let Pickens go to get Metcalf,
Dude.
I mean, one of the worst pivots. I mean, isn't it interesting to see how the Steelers have become everything they used to hate? The Steelers were one of these franchises where they would invest in players. This was a destination. These were wide receiver whisperers with the Steelers. They found late in the draft Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders, and they did a great job.
Yeah.
Right? And they had continuity. They had veteran deference. They were, a consummate winning team year after year. I mean, how many consecutive winning seasons does Mike Tomlin have?
I think it was like 15, something like that.
It's like 15.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Don't you realize that's insane? 15 in the NFL. I mean, he finished his 19-season tenure as the head coach, 193, 114, and 2.
Wow.
19 consecutive non-losing seasons.
19, wow.
10-plus wins in 11 seasons. A guy like that hits the open market. I mean, I am calling his agent as fast as I can dial the numbers.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that he's available. And then so you could put together a dream coaching staff based on who got fired this year. But now the Steelers are in this coach purgatory, quarterback purgatory, everything. They're in team purgatory. It's the purgatory Steelers.
I couldn't agree more, man. Like I said, it's just like not really my style. Arthur Smith burned me one too many times with Bijan Robinson, where I'm like, to hell with that guy.
I've heard Jalen Waddle to the Steelers is a possibility. I think he would complement DK Metcalf well, but I just don't think any player is going to be improved by playing next to DK Metcalf. I just think he's just such a zero for the franchise. He doesn't help anybody. Like, it's one thing if defenses take you seriously. I have a hard time thinking. I don't think defenses need to overplay DK Metcalf's side of the field any longer. I don't think he's helping anybody. I think he's dragging the team down.
Oof. Some tough conversations to be had. I mean, I think the thing is with Rodgers, we were really hoping we would see some more of those, back shoulder balls, those contested catches in the end zone. And that's just not where DK thrives. He's got the size, but his career contested catch rate is below average, right? And so he doesn't bring what I think they were wish casting into the picture.
What does he bring? He can't run short and intermediate routes. His super sloppy route running, so he's not precise. He has the speed to win on these fades, but he doesn't win in contested situations. What the hell?
I'm giving him slants, man. I'm giving him slants. I'm giving him the ball in his hands and watching him run. Like,
I'm
that
giving
was
him to someone else in Dynasty. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm selling on Waddle too, because to your point, that's a gross landing spot. Waddle's always dinged up, and I kind of feel like he's a better Robin than he is a Batman.
Wouldn't he be better just staying in Miami? Isn't that probably what's going to happen? He's just going to stay in Miami with him and Malik Willis?
Yeah, there's just so much talk, right? Oh, they're going to trade this guy. I think he could stay in Miami, like I said, and I think it still behoove them to draft a wide receiver in the first round if one of those top 3 picks is available there.
So Waddle, I don't see a lot of value there.
I'm out.
Like, why am I trading? Explain to me why I'm trading for Jalen Waddle. Can someone explain that to me? The Bulls' case for Jalen Waddle?
Speed, I guess.
What?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
He's never been a guy I've been overly high on. I did like him his rookie year because he was cheap, but even then they deployed him as almost like a Jarvis Landry role, which I think nobody expected. So
100 targets. That's an argument. 100 targets, right?
Yeah,
1,300 air yards. 1,300 air yards, right? So that was almost a career high in air yards. And yet, 12 fantasy points a game. Right? Had the low catch rate. Thinking that's partly attributed to quarterback play. He's had years where he had like an 18.1 yards per reception. He can operate down the field. I would like to see him in a different team. I think there's some upside there still. He's only 27 years old. It's just we're talking about 1 year where he had more than 1,015 yards. 1 year and 5. See, it's hard to.
Yeah.
Can't do it. In terms of raw ability at this point in his career, I just have a hard time thinking there's like, oh, there's some arbitrage value here. There's something here that I'm not seeing. I looked on the New York Times actually posted their top 10 free agents at every position, and I was like, look at the New York Times. I know it's the Athletic. But what do you think of Mike Evans being not only like the number one receiver, they had him as a top 10 option at NFL player, right?
Yeah.
The list of free agent NFL players, they had him in the top 10, number 7. The 7th best pending free agent in the entire NFL at age 33. Projected to get $25 million a year. He doesn't want to play anywhere other than Tampa. What do you think is going to happen with Mike Evans?
I think they hang on to him. They find a way to get it done. I mean, especially they gave Godwin all that money coming off of a brutal injury. I feel like this is a guy who wants to be there. They'll figure out a team-friendly deal. In an ideal scenario, though, this guy really wants to win a championship and is willing to kind of go full heel on Baker Mayfield and say, hey, I don't know if you're the guy who's going to get me there. Put Mike Evans in a Patriots uniform.
Why wouldn't they? What?
You like that?
I don't like it. I love it. I love it so much. It's oh my God, Super Bowl contender, needs a true outside clasher. That's the skill set they're missing more than any other. And he wants to, win another Super Bowl to go out strong, like following like Randy Moss's footsteps. Come on, dude, let's do this.
You guys have the cap space.
Yeah.
They were made it to the big game, right?
I know you said you guys, but I would never say we.
Huh?
You said you guys have this cap. I would never say we have cap space, by the way. The Patriots. Yes, they're my favorite team, but come on.
Patriots fan.
There's no we. There's no our cap. No.
I thought they were calling you for advice, man.
Yes, typically yes, but no. Typically yes, but actually no. And then so the Times actually has Alec Pierce as the number 11 overall free agent.
Yeah.
What? Excuse
me?
Know. Over Juwan Jennings.
I was going to say, I feel like Juwan Jennings got snubbed in those rankings.
He's the number 1 guy that's available. I can't believe that the 49ers are jerking him around so much. It's offensive to me, considering his dog rating.
He is a dog. That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, the dude will play with it. Have you ever seen that Greg Jennings Madden clip where he's running down the field with a broken leg for like 80 yards? That's Juwan Jennings.
Let's do this. Wandale's a free agent. And, Joe Schoen, of course, he says, a receiver like Wandale, you definitely got to have those conversations to make sure that you're getting value from the player if you're going to pay him probably what he's going to get.
What the fuck does that mean? What is he talking about?
What is he talking about? That is his way of telling the world that they're not that interested in signing Wandale Robinson, even though he's the perfect fit. No matter who they draft, he's the perfect fit for that offense. Keep it together, man. Bring the band back with this New York offense. What are you doing, dude?
They got to get rid of that guy, man. Joe Schoen is, I think he's worn out his time.
He's
this
Shane,
is
not Schoen. I keep saying Schoen.
Shane, yeah. I think
Joe Shane.
The thing is, this is a really deep cut. John Mara, the CEO, is dealing with cancer right now, right? The owner of the team. And I just feel like there's a bit of like hey, I don't want to rock the boat too much. I've built a relationship with this guy over the past few years. I think that's a big fail for this guy. I mean, that quote alone is proof that any of us can become an NFL GM one day. Like, this guy was a scout, worked his way up. It's an inspiring story how Joe Schoen became a GM, but like, man, is he just making bad moves left and right, in my opinion. So
yeah. Who gave up George Pickens to bring in DK Metcalf? Who did that? What was his story? Where did he come up from?
I don't know.
Opposite world?
I don't know.
Yeah. Where did?
I
Oh
know
yeah,
because he was on Hard
it's a great story. Yeah, it's a great enlightening story. Very very inspirational. Yeah. Yeah, GMX. I don't even know who gave it. I guess we should look it up. I mean, who is the GM of the Steelers? I don't know. Why do I not know this? Anand would know. Let's look it
Omar
up.
Khan is the GM of the Steelers.
Say
I
again.
kind of always Omar Khan is his name, but with
Oh yeah.
guys
So
like
Omar
that,
Khan is terrible at his job.
but there's a Mike Tomlin's corollary that's like almost like a Bill Belichick corollary, where it's like when you've been in that coach for that long, you've got some pull over the strings, right? And I
So
think
you're giving Omar Khan the benefit of the doubt that he didn't want Metcalf. That this was a Mike Tomlin thing. Mike
I'm not
Tomlin, the guy
giving
that has
anybody the
never
benefit
had a
of the
losing
doubt.
season.
I think Pickens' story goes down a lot with not the ability of the player, but the fact that he was a head case. And that's what's also crazy is like DK Metcalf's a head case, right? So,
Yeah, what
but
are we talking about? Every every other wide receiver, we is a head case.
they were fed up with Pickens, is my point. I think Tomlin specifically was fed up with Pickens and was ready to move on and was
Okay.
like, I want to run my team this way. Get rid of him.
Huh. And now they've gotten rid of Tomlin. So how'd that work out?
Right.
Yeah.
And but maybe he was like internally they're discussing and they're like, yeah, this was kind of his move and that was a bad move. And he's like, hey, I've had more good moves than bad moves in my career. I've won a Super Bowl. You guys can kick rocks.
Pickens is interesting. He's going to be franchise tagged by the Cowboys. Where would you consider him a buy?
I'd consider him a hold, man. I mean, he's like wide receiver 10 on keep trade cut. Like it's not rich, but it's for a wide receiver 2 in an offense. It's about as high as you can possibly vault someone. I think the bigger thing is that CeeDee Lamb's ceiling is hurt as long as George Pickens is in that building. He had no games above 25 PPR points last season. And Lamb has had declining points per game in 3 straight seasons. So Lamb's currently at wide receiver 6 in Dynasty rankings. I think they're closer to one another, almost dead even. And that would be the change I make, is probably moving Lamb back a few spots. He's 27 years old. George Pickens is only 25. So I think we're jumping the shark a little bit by, valuing CeeDee Lamb for what he did like 3 years ago at this point.
Big difference we have at the player profiler rankings and the Dynasty rankings. Garrett Wilson we have ahead of George Pickens. I mean, Garrett Wilson's teed up to be the primary guy, whoever the quarterback is, and George Pickens is not going to be. It's pretty simple. But, for whatever reason, the public, wide receiver 10 on Pickens is the high point. You can't he can't possibly get higher. So when you're looking at trades, like that's just not an option, man. I love them getting Pickens from the Steelers, but I'm not buying Pickens in Dynasty. It's not a thing that I think makes sense right now. What about Michael Wilson? GM Monte Austinfort. I know who the GM of the Cardinals is. I know a lot of GMs, but like somehow the GM of the Steelers escaped me.
Yeah.
So Austinfort said of Michael Wilson, he is everything we want in our program to be about, and hopefully he's here for a long time.
Yeah.
That's what I call a dynasty buy right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that is it. I mean, I'm scrolling down. Okay. Oh, there's Marvin Harrison on Keep Trade Cut, where Michael Wilson's behind Alec Pierce. They have Michael Wilson at wide receiver 35. That is the most inefficient ranking I've seen. That's great.
Yes.
What? Excuse me? No. We have him higher than that, and he's going to go even higher.
Yeah, and he might not be the wide receiver 2 on his own team, right? I think people are hanging on to priors with Marvin Harrison Jr. so much that they're like, oh, yeah, we got to put this guy at wide receiver 35 because he's a wide receiver 2 on that team. It's like, well, George Pickens is wide receiver on his team or wide receiver 2, and you guys have him at wide receiver 10, right? So, Michael Wilson did it all last year, man. He won short, intermediate. The down the field contested catches were so awesome. And you know what the crazy part was it wasn't just like, oh, touchdown production was what the fantasy points came from. Like there was a game where he had like 15 catches, 183 yards and 0 touchdowns. Still good for 33 fantasy points. Like that, man, Shout out Jacoby Brissett.
That's right. Yeah. Michael Wilson for sure. That's the one. That's the buy high. I mean, I love buy high. I've been talking about buy high for many years. That is the ultimate buy high. Is there a better buy high?
I got a guy.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's a high. That's my point. You asked in the show sheet who's the player that has like the most fake uncertainty holding down their dynasty value. We got to talk about Parker Washington. I mean, this is Jacksonville's wide receiver 1, wide receiver 46 in dynasty, 24 years old, major juice as a punt returner, was clearly Trevor Lawrence's favorite weapon down the stretch, averaged 21.7 fantasy points per game from week 16 through 18, and had 14 opportunities and 24 fantasy points in the playoff game where he was evaluated for an injury and missed part of that game. People really want to hang on to Brian Thomas Jr. and Jacoby Myers and not understand that Parker Washington was the focal point of that offense down the stretch. I don't think BTJ is a good fit in the offense. I think Jacoby, based on the film, didn't separate quite like he used to. And then even with a full-time Travis Hunter at playing wide receiver, which we don't think is going to happen, the price is too damn low on Parker Washington. You will find me pounding the drum for this guy a lot. So love the player.
Number 4 in EPX on Player Profiler, in spite of having just unimpressive athleticism, was never super productive in college, had a 70% catch rate one year at Penn State, but that's about it. So nothing super impressive. But man, last year he showed he's better than Travis Hunter. Yep. That's what he showed. He did show that. He showed that he did. What do you think about the best possible free agent signing? I mean, there's no better. Like, there's no better fit. This is the most dominant, obvious free agent signing I could. It doesn't get much. Travis Etienne to the Chiefs. Travis Etienne to the Chiefs.
Broncos. Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs.
You think it's Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs? So the Chiefs know they're going to get Jeremiah Love?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
How do they know?
They don't.
Where are they picking?
They're picking 10th, and it's very possible he's there, right? Picking 9th, it looks like.
They're picking 9th. He will be there at 9, I would think.
I don't know, man.
What if the Commanders draft him?
The Commanders, the Saints.
They're in play.
There's some teams in play there.
Well, Titans no, Giants no. And the Titans would never. It's too high.
The Giants aren't a hard no for me. Like, there's a lot of wide. I think there's so much like people thinking and doing revisionist history. They're like, oh, we let Saquon walk. We got to go get another stud running back. We got to make John happy, right? Like those types of things. There's always some surprises in the draft. I think Jeremiah Love is a top 5 player on the board, if not higher. So at a certain point, you're just doing yourself a disservice to pass on him after those first 5 picks.
They're not going to draft him. They're all in on Scadaboo. They've sold way too many jerseys. Scadaboo was incredibly effective. Yeah, there's Scadaboo jerseys all over Connecticut and New York and Long Island, everywhere. They're everywhere. New Jersey, they're all over the place. You're gonna see it. Scadaboo was awesome.
Yeah.
And RB12 versus keep trade cut like RB18, we are way out ahead on Scadaboo. And we will continue to be way out ahead on Scadaboo. Now, he didn't have that many explosive plays. He didn't. And they certainly ran the ball a lot. They were number 2 in run plays per game. The advanced metrics aren't great. His production premium was plus 10.0, and his yards created per touch was 3.84. Those were both top 10. So on a per-touch basis, was he creating yards on his own? That's what that shows you. The answer is yes. Right? So if you dig into the numbers, you say, okay, the offensive line did him no favors in the context of the team. He was not that impressive. EPX, explosive play rating, 89.6. That was 38. Juke rate, 24%. Good, not exceptional. Ranked number 20. But it was these metrics like production premium and yards created per touch on Player Profiler, which show you, oh, this is what he's doing on his own.
Yeah.
So
He's
there's no
also
way.
coming
They
off
don't
a
get rid of him.
serious
He's a
injury.
value. He's a guy I'm buying for sure. And then that takes another potential suitor away on the draft board from Jeremiah Love.
A serious injury there to consider. And then, the other thing with running backs is like when you're drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, the team's not thinking about the sunk cost, right? Like there's so much data to show that teams are way more likely to take a stab at a new running back in the next draft when they're drafted after the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. So again, it was early 4th round draft capital. He looked fantastic. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just saying crazier things have happened.
Okay. So we talk about crazier things. Kenneth Walker going elsewhere would be absolutely crazy. I just wish Rico could go there because it would be such an incredible masterstroke of a general manager move.
You love it. I brought that up before the show. You.
But it's
mentioned it twice, so I
impossible.
gotta take
It's
credit.
impossible. It's impossible. There's no way they can't bring back Kenneth Walker. The internal organizational pressure, the external fan pressure, everyone is going to be bearing down on this guy. It's going to be he's going to have a shame walk if he doesn't bring him back. He's the Super Bowl MVP, for Christ's sake. So I get it. He's coming back. But where does that mean Dowdle can go? Because I love Dowdle.
Yeah, I think, again, just looking at running back needy teams, I think the Broncos could use someone like him to complement RJ Harvey.
Yes.
I think the Texans could be a good fit. Woody Marks didn't blow anybody away. We don't know if we're ever going to see Joe Mixon again. I really like that Texans fit as well. So,
God, you really think the Texans want to go do this again? Bring in an
yeah, I
older
know.
running back?
Just keep getting hurt. Yeah,
I don't
know.
think they want to do that again. I liked your first thought.
Which
I like
one?
Denver, because it also lets him go somewhere where he can contend.
Yeah. Dude, but put him in a Seahawks jersey with no Kenneth Walker, and there's, to your point, maybe no better potential landing spot, fit, and vault in dynasty value if that were to happen.
What about Algier and Gainwell? How do you see these guys landing?
Yeah, get Gainwell on the Chiefs in like a complimentary, role that he basically played for the Steelers, or get him back in Pittsburgh. Like that's really where I want to see him play, is because that's where he thrived. I know you've got a Kenneth Gainwell shirt somewhere hanging around.
Yes.
He's a solid player, right? He actually owns I live in Sarasota, Florida. He owns a like Raining Berries. It's like an acai bowl shop, and he's listed on the door as the owner. So kind of cool. He's a businessman.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. What about Caleb Johnson, though?
Oh my God, man. You asked, one of the questions was like, which running back is due for like a year 2 breakout? And I'm like, I wish I could tell you Caleb Johnson.
Yes.
But dude,
new coaching staff. Guy was a monster in college. Come on.
Yeah, I spent a 1st round pick on him. So trust me, no one would rather see it work out than me.
Doesn't it usually work out, though, eventually with these guys? Don't they eventually figure it out?
I mean, that 40 time was gross.
It wasn't that gross. 4.57 at 225. That's not bad. Look at his college stats.
Everybody's running in the 4.4s now. Like all the kids are doing it. This is what I was talking about yesterday. If you look at the 40 times for the wide receivers last year, you'd be blown away by how many of them ran 4.4s. Even guys you'd think should be running 4.5s. Like they're finding a way to test well. They're learning the technique to at least run a fast 40. And so that 40 time it was one of the worst times among all running backs last year.
By the way, subscribe to the newsletter. It's at the bottom of player pages. We get it featured up higher. But yeah, subscribe to the newsletter. It's down there by the college stats on player pages. And every week, Cam Edgecombe, our head of newsletter, he sends out an incredible sort of list of all the things you need to know, all the upcoming news, things that are being rolled out, everything that is fresh that you might need to know, we will provide it, plus links to all the most recent articles, the social media posts that are getting the most buzz. It's great. It's great. So you definitely want to get that. All the new shows that come out, links to recent shows. that you might be interested in. So it's just a great way to kind of stay plugged into the player profiler community, even if maybe right now you're not, super active with your fantasy teams. The newsletter really is a great way to just, it's weekly. We don't bug you. It's just, it's a very cool newsletter. We're very cool about it. But yeah, Caleb Johnson, I think this is just where you have to be placing your chips on guys that were monster producers in college, and that there is a narrative that you can tell that, hey, they got stuck behind 2 quality backs. They run a team that was this, sort of veteran deference culture. Now that's changing, and it's all changing, right? Gainwell is leaving, Tomlin's leaving, and he clearly, especially his freshman year, put up 800 yards rushing his freshman year. So I'm in on Caleb Johnson. I think he's a great buy. RB46 on Keep Trade Cut. Just to put it in context, that's behind Tajay Spears, Tyrone Tracy, J.K. Dobbins, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Ramadre Stevenson. The guy on there that I like in this zone that I think I would rather, I think it's close. I think this is more of the type of player he is Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen is much more of a 1-to-1 comp for Caleb Johnson. And so I think that those guys together, they could all 3 of them could shake out to basically be younger versions of Ramadre Stevenson. So I would, I think that's a nice little tier there, that Ramadre, the older one, and then you have Caleb, the younger, and I think Ramadre's Caleb Johnson's floor, and then Braylon Allen. I think there's some complementary skill set there. It's not a lock that Breece Hall is going to be back, but probably, right? What are the odds Breece Hall's back with the Jets?
I would say 80 to 90%, because they said they're either going to use the franchise or the transition tag. Yeah. So one way or the other, it's pretty likely he ends up there.
And he's going to be miserable. He's going to be miserable.
Oh yeah. I feel so bad.
That's also part of the reason why, especially if he comes back, Braylon Allen becomes an even better value.
Yeah, he's not going to want to play, right?
I know Braylon Allen's a legit value, especially if Hall comes back and then no one thinks that Braylon Allen has any value. It's like, oh no, incredible contingent value.
Yeah. You did sway me a bit on Caleb Johnson. I think when you think about Mike McCarthy, historically, what he looked for in a running back, he likes those guys with size, right? I always thought it was so weird last year that they were rolling out Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell and just, undersized backs relatively, right? And so new regime, I think he'll get a fresh chance, but I never thought of those guys as like high quality running backs. And that's one of my biggest glaring concerns, is that he didn't easily beat them out and take a hold of that room. He did the opposite, right? He was a healthy scratch in a few games.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a mulligan there. Kyle Pitts came through, getting the franchise tag, performs at a high level again. He's gonna get paid in a big way, close to 1,000 yards last year, 88 catches. Hey, Kyle Pitts, he's back.
Dude, I would have lost so much money on Kyle Pitts over the past 3 or 4 years if people would have let me. You asked, is he a buy? Like, I really like him, but where I've always struggled is his owners really like him, right? This is a guy that had such awesome upside coming out of college from Florida. And so the thing is, it was a similar arc for me to what Javonte Williams went through. Had a brutal injury, took almost 2 seasons to get fully back to himself. Some people kind of lost faith in him, but I think he's back. He's a solid athlete, solid player, going to be featured in a Stefanski offense, like that role. We're salivating, right? But at the same time, I think you're going to be getting.
You're doing the thing with the Stefanski.
What? Oh,
the Stefanski offense. What does that mean when you say Stefanski offense? What do you mean by that?
Dave Njoku, Harold Fannin, right? Like, this guy likes to leverage the tight end frequently, and so I don't see. I think their backup is Charlie Warner, right? So this is going to be the Kyle Pitts show at tight end in a Kevin Stefanski offense where they're paying him handsomely. They're gonna feature this guy. He said you're doing the coach thing again.
You are. You did the coach thing again. So the New York Times also has Dallas Goedert ranked as the number 31 overall free agent. That's a little high for Dallas Goedert. I think I'd rather take a chance on like an Isaiah Likely or a Chigakonkwu, even a Noah Fant, maybe even a David Njoku. I mean, Goddard is 31, but he's been productive. And tight ends like Dallas Goedert are in their age 31, 32 seasons. I do think Dallas Goedert is a buy.
I like Dallas Goedert. Out of all the guys you mentioned on that list, he is the guy I would want, and I think he stays in Philly and is a good fit there. Like he had some there was something last year with the contract, but he was just very adamant. I want to play with Jalen Hurts. I want to stay on this team. So I think he's a solid player. I was a guy who loved David Njoku. I kind of feel like he turned to dust last year. Like
what happened? He's 29 years old.
He wasn't separating the same. He was not uncovering in zone coverage. He wasn't winning in man. And Harold Fannin really, stepped up and did those things. And it was kind of a glaring difference when you looked at the way that those two played. And so as a guy who's really liked David Njoku historically, it took a while to break out. Also always dealing with some sort of injury. He's a tough guy, but he's just always dinged up. These are guys that, again, I kind of see him, Chig, behind Goddard in my personal opinion in terms of who I'd be targeting if I was a GM, right?
So buy David Njoku?
What did I just say to make you think you should buy David?
No, nothing. That's the thing. It was a joke. It was a bad Njoku. Oh, right? Who's a dad? Who's the dad here? Who's your dad? Who's your dad joke deliverer? It's me. Chigakonkwu, 27 years old. I feel like they're going to bring him back. If I've been developing a guy like him and I'm a rebuilding franchise, that's the worst. Like you don't want to build a guy up, get him to age 27, athletic. He could potentially be a more featured option, and then you let him go, and then he's productive somewhere else. You don't want to let that happen.
I think he's more like an H-back to me. He's undersized. He's like 6'3". I'm fully ready for the Gunnar Helm show in Tennessee.
Good luck with that. Did Jonnu Smith have that year? Isn't Jonnu Smith kind of an H-back, and then he had the year that everyone was waiting for in 2024? Had like over 100 targets, 88 catches, 885 yards.
Yes.
He was a top 10 tight end.
It's a great example because he was a Titan, and then he got in with someone like a Mike McDaniel who used him a bit differently. And then he went to the Steelers, and what did he do last year with Arthur Smith, right? So I think Gunnar
It was too much for me to think that you were going to edit out your coach speak.
It matters, man. It matters how
your coach-centric analysis is just too much part of who you are. You couldn't just put he doesn't like the coach centric analysis. It's not objective enough. No. I'm gonna keep hitting you over the head with it, dude. Oh, but McDaniel and the usage. Oh, but Stefanski, 2 tight ends. All right. What about Isaiah Likely? Isaiah Likely is interesting. No, you wouldn't rather target Isaiah Likely over a Goddard?
Yeah. There's upside there, right? And he's certainly a good pass catcher. I think he's a bit of a run blocking nightmare. But if you've been holding Likely, like this is what you've been waiting for.
Discount Kyle Pitts, right?
Sure.
He's discount Kyle Pitts. I think he is. And then they asked him about what's going to happen, and he said business is business. Johnny, he said business is business.
No coach speak here. The issue with Likely,
that's some free agent speak.
No, but the issue with Likely is his his relative athletic score, which really matters for tight end more than any other position, and it's pretty concretely so. He has like a sub 5 RAS, I believe. So for him to actually be a tight end 1 in the NFL, he would be an extreme outlier. It's not impossible. He's the type of guy we would place that bet on because we all know he's more athletic than the RAS leads on. But calling him Kyle Pitts is maybe a bit of a stretch in terms of his athleticism.
ran a
What is it,
4.88 and had a
4.88?
poor agility score. That is all true. And you don't need to quote RASS because we have the athletic score here at Player Profiler. All-time tight end rank, he ranks 352nd out of 525 tight ends all-time in athleticism score, which, like RAS, it factors in a player's size into their overall athleticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem. I get it.
It's nothing to write home about, right?
No. And then the question is, you like Barner, but you don't like Likely. And then I don't like Barner as much, but I do like Likely. And then meanwhile, Barner is actually technically more athletic and a better team and a better situation.
And a better
So
run
why
block.
wouldn't I prefer Barner over Likely? That's a great question. I don't. I prefer Likely, but I don't know why.
I get it. There's better pass catching upside with Likely. He plays more like a wide receiver, which lends itself to fantasy production for sure.
All right, dude. Give us a truther, a guy that you are not dropping in Dynasty at all.
So truthers, Jalen Coker.
Jalen Coker, yes.
He is my background
Yes.
on my X page. It's actually Tony Montana, like sitting in front of a pile of Coke, but it's Jalen Coker's face. So
Okay,
I'm a huge Coke head. You already heard me talk about Parker Washington. From this rookie class, it's going to be Mike Washington Jr. and Omar Cooper Jr.
Love it. Jalen Coker's athleticism score was 8 out of 89 receivers in 2024. Very good.
Yeah.
He has been consistent and consistently mediocre, playing in 11 games, catching about 45 balls, putting up about 425 yards, and 2.5 touchdowns.
There's
years.
some context there, though. There's some context. He was injured. He was working his way back. They also invested heavily into Leggett, who they're done with, right? Like they wanted to give Leggett some run. The game you're not mentioning was the one playoff game that they were in where he was, their stud. He had 28 fantasy points, 12 targets, 9 receptions for 134 yards and a touchdown.
Thank you for saying that. Needless to say, on Player Profiler, we have Coker way ahead of Keep Trade Cut.
The solid.
I had to go to the second page to find Coker on Keep Trade Cut. Sad.
Underrated guy. Even Steve Smith was super high on him coming out of college. I think he went undrafted, but just so much positive coach speak too, and positive QB speak from just Bryce Young, David Canales about what they see with Coker in that room. And that stuff matters to me, especially when you're an undrafted guy and they don't ever move on from how much they value you.
All right, give us a bold prediction, man. Get us out of here. Take us home.
Jeremiah Love is going to be the Dynasty RB2 by mid-season, and Eli Stowers will easily outproduce Kenyon Sadiq in their rookie year.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.